Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video. Suspect wife 40 female of cheating tonight. Help me, 42 male, stay sane. My wife has been traveling for work more often over the last 2 years, and our relationship has had ups and downs as a result of this. This week, she'll be working on the East Coast, while we'll be working on the West. Because we have a shared Apple family account, she is willing to reveal her whereabouts. She was supposed to come home the next day, but she went out to dinner with a colleague this evening instead. At 9 p.m. PT, I was emailing her about the issues she was having with her children and dogs, and I looked up her location. She often complains about being exhausted, so I'm surprised she hasn't checked into her hotel. I'm going to suppose that dinner was a bit late. Approximately an hour later, 1:30 a.m. at /10:30 a.m. PT, I check her location again, and she is in a residential neighborhood. On Google Maps, there are no motels in the area, only houses, which is disappointing. I tried contacting her many times, thinking maybe the Do Not Disturb function had been activated, but she didn't pick up the phone. In this case, I'm watching her whereabouts at a property in the city where she often goes for a visit. She sent me a text message not long ago. I'm at a loss on what to do at this point. Do I have to wake up early in the morning to search for the phone? Simply inquire of her when she returns home as to why her phone was placed in such an unexpected spot. It is difficult for me not to jump to conclusions, yet there is a general sense of uneasiness about everything. What is my game plan going to be? Edit. She returned to the motel where she had been staying. At 2:30 a.m. PT/5:30 a.m. I took note of the situation. When I attempted to call her at 2:12 a.m. PT, she responded with a text message indicating that she was sleeping. The sinking feeling is becoming more intense. The way it will function is as follows. I offered to meet her at the airport if she needed it. The journey home will be spent interrogating her about the evening, her boss's home, or any other people she was with, and her activities after leaving the restaurant. In the event that she does not explain the journey to and time spent in the residential area by the time we return home, I will be forced to display screenshots of the location and then demand full, open access to phones and computers for the purpose of reviewing text messages and other correspondence. When the gadgets are put on the table, I will insist on their being turned off and will not allow her to make any calls until I have checked them. To be quite honest, I despise being in this situation. I'm extremely tempted to throw up. This is something I don't want our 2 adorable little children to go through with their lives. Update. She has returned to her hometown. The location of Apple was right. She'd gotten herself into a semi-rando situation. That was not the case with her supervisor. There is no way to defend yourself. There was one mistake, says the author. I stayed on track with my goal. She was the first to confess it. She even made up a story about having a urinary tract infection, UTI, in order to avoid having relations until she had a positive STI test. I'm not sure what the future holds for my marriage at this point. The couple has been married for 23 years. There are 2 children. I'm completely befuddled right now. I may be heard from the adjacent room. I'm dripping with perspiration and pounding the keys. Please understand that we have been together for 23 years and married for 18 years. To answer a few questions, I have a reasonable belief that it wasn't her job since she told me the guy's name, and it matches the address information I received the night before when doing research. I'm forced to choose between 2 possibilities, both of which will have catastrophic consequences. This is a terrible situation. Story 2. I came back from my deployment only to find my wife with another man on my bed. Being in love is arguably one of the most beautiful things in life, but it is also one of the most perilous. I understand that life is all about taking chances. As a private, I joined the Marines. I'm now a corporal. I busted but I'm still here. I wanted to be a Marine for the rest of my life, or so I thought. I'm in a difficult situation. My wife and I married 3 years ago. I was madly in love with her when I married her. She made me happy with everything she did. I adored how she looked at me, how she smiled, laughed, and played with her hair. Now, I'm not sure whether I still adore her. I was on deployment for 8 months. Now, while I was at the base, my brothers would often remind me that women only married soldiers for the advantages. You know, things like benefit payments, healthcare, education, vacations, and so forth. They claim spouses become lonely when we deploy and bring a pal home while I'm here. I didn't pay attention to any of this, did I? Isn't it not true of all women? Well, I'm not sure anymore. It's not my position to suggest that every woman is now like this. When I returned home, I had to fly for 12 hours. I was desperate to see my folks. A wife and a lovely princess. Being apart from my child is like being hit in the gut a billion times till I see her again. Despite this, I was always conversing with her. I step inside, believing they are present. There was no one at home, as far as I could tell. I sat down and waited for them. I called my wife, but she did not answer. There is no text, nothing. I walked into the kitchen and heard several thumps. It sounds like it's coming from the basement. I heard a man groaning as I opened the door. I make my way down silently. It helped that we had a really soft, furry-like carpet. Also, wow, I found my wife kissing someone I went to high school with. We weren't best buddies or anything, but we were acquainted. This seemed unbelievable to me. I don't play this garbage anymore, so I hopped on the bed and beat this dude. Not in the way that other males do. But it was enough to inflict him a black eye and a split lip. He was well aware that she was my wife. He was aware that I was absent. Wife was yelling at him not to strike him, that she is really sorry. My house has been at base since that time. This house is nothing more than a collection of destroyed memories. My brothers were correct about marriage, and specifically about my wife. I will never trust my wife again, and if I divorce, I want to remain a Marine, which implies that marrying again would be a waste of time. We are, in fact, still married. This was not a long time ago. I regret remaining with her on a daily basis. When she grins at me, I simply look away, and when she embraces me, I just look away, placing one arm over her. I turn my head when she attempts to kiss me. Our favorite part was trying something we'd never eaten before. We would go to distant states only to dine at the best restaurants. We hadn't done it since before I departed for Asia. I'm just no longer in love. When I mention divorce, she leaps on me and apologizes profusely, shedding phony tears, that she will never do such a thing again, that she cares for me. She admitted to sleeping with him 3 times. I know I'm all over the place. So throughout my absence, she only slept with him 3 times. Okay. To be honest, I think I should be nominated for most distant spouse. She to me, telling me she misses me, and that what she did was a mistake, that she'll go to any length to keep us the same as before. We don't dispute, yet we're more separated than adversaries. She is always recommending that we visit a therapist. All they'll do is tell us to make up. I'm not doing anything that entails touching her or establishing eye contact for more than a second. That is why I will not be attending. I was unconcerned about my daughter. She has a striking resemblance to me. She has my ears, eyes, and hair color. I don't need a DNA test. Even though she wasn't mine, she was my life. I would never abandon her. She is the reason I am not divorcing and ending my marriage. At the base, one of my brothers didn't slap me in the face. I recall them stating that if you come home and find your wife in bed with someone else, we'll claim we told you so. But he didn't say it. Instead, he added, I'm wrecking my life with the wrong person. He said that if I do not divorce, I would be unhappy when I may meet someone wonderful. Sure thing. I simply want to return home. However, because to the epidemic, this will not be possible. I offer everyone a blessing and ask that they keep safe indoors. Update. I returned to Reddit. I saw a slew of mails asking for an update. There are 103 distinct personal messages and 130 plus comments. It's impossible to respond to everything. It's probably a good idea to update every sub I wrote it to. I hope there wasn't too many haha, but I was in a deep despair. I was going through a difficult divorce, but I always had my tiny star at my side. My kid comes up to me and gives me a hug and tells me she loves me. She is my healer. I'm feeling considerably better after a long and hard couple of months, but I'll keep going. The agony I went through in boot camp was nothing compared to this. So I'm going to go on from here. I also had my small star with me. Who knows, maybe I'll find another lady, but not anytime soon. I learned 2 things. I can't trust others and marriage is a waste of time. Wow. All I have to do is be there for my kid and myself. I hope you and your friends are safe. You'd be amazed how many folks are still sick.